Hey guys, it's John from Chicagoland Fire Photos, and welcome back to episode 2 of All About the CFD. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about the helmets of the Chicago Fire Department, the makes and models that are issued and that you can see in service today, and how to identify ranks based off of helmets. Now, let's get into it. Alright, so getting into it, we're going to start on the fire side. Now, the first helmet is the candidate, which is the Chicago Fire Department's term for a recruit firefighter in their first probationary year. Sadly, I'm doing this video at the quarters of Engine Company 44 and Truck 36, so all the helmets used are assigned to this house, and currently they have, there isn't a candidate here today, so I don't have a lid to use as an example. So, right here in the corner, I'm going to put a picture of one. How to identify these is on the shield, where the sticker goes, there will be a big orange sticker that says candidate, and the tetrahedrons will be orange and gray. And it's pretty much the most simple one. It still says firefighter on the shield. And now we're going to get into the ranks past probation. So first off, we have the firefighter. This example is the guy in the engine. You can see the shield says firefighter, and it can be identified by the orange tetrahedrons and the firefighter marking on the shield. The next rank is engineer. Here we have an example of an engineer. These can be identified by, it'll say engineer on the shield, and it'll still have yellow tetrahedrons. These ones aren't yellow. This guy's kind of been around the block. It's a little salty, but still a solid example. Now we're getting into the officers. The first officer rank in the city is lieutenant. And a lieutenant's shield, this one's going to be really salty, but the lieutenant shields are typically white, and they will say lieutenant at the top. And on the side, they have gone from tetrahedrons to rectangles, and they will be spaced out evenly around the helmet. The next rank is captain. Now, with captains, their shields still white with captain on the front, and they can be identified using the bars. This helmet isn't to CFD spec currently, but for the captain rank, instead of having these bars spaced out evenly, they will be lined up on this center line together. So together here in the front, together here in the back, together here on the side. Now, the final level of helmets for the fire side is chiefs. Chiefs are the same, going from all the way to battalion chief all the way up to the commissioner. The helmet's still going to be the same, and it's going to be identified by a white shield with their title across the top, and it can have one of two identifiable marks. It's also a white helmet. Battalion chief and up is when they switch from a black to a white helmet. It can also be identified by the large block stripes instead of the thin ones that the company officers have. Occasionally, you will also see just yellow tetrahedrons. It just depends on the year it was issued. And now, time to move into the EMS side. Alrighty, now getting back into it, on the other side of the Chicago Fire Department, we have the EMS system. Now, the first lid for the EMS system, same as the fire side. It's the paramedic candidate, and sadly, I don't have access to one of those here, so here's a picture of it. It can be identified the same way as a normal candidate lid. It'll say candidate across the face, and it'll have the orange tetrahedrons with the gray stripe. Now, getting into the actual lids after you get off candidacy, we have our first rank, which is paramedic. You can see it right there across. Chicago runs single role ambulances, so if you're in the EMS system, you're just a paramedic, not a firefighter. These can be identified by paramedic on the shield and the stars of life around in place of the tetrahedrons. Now next up, we have the ambulance officers. I don't have an example of an ambulance commander, so there's two officer positions. You have PICs, or person in command, paramedic in charge, either or. They kind of similar to the lieutenant on the fire side, and then the ambulance commander is similar to the captain on the fire side. And these can both be identified simply by the shield. This one's paramedic in charge, and a ambulance commander one will simply just say ambulance commander. And just like the medic lid, can be identified by the stars of life around the shield in place of tetrahedrons. Now finally, we have EMS chiefs. So the basically battalion chief level is paramedic field chief, and it goes all the way up to assistant deputy or deputy fire commissioner is the highest assistant deputy fire commissioner is the highest the EMS chief ranks go. And just like the fire side, they all have basically the same helmet for the whole time. Now this one has a custom shield on it, but this is an example of an EMS chief's helmet. Normally with the sticker, it will say with the normal CFD shield, it'll say the rank going across and have the sticker in Chicago, and it'll say all that. But this guy, this chief decided that they wanted a custom shield. Good on them, looks awesome. And so a lot of times they will be issued the same chief's helmets. It's kind of redundant for the city. It's easier that way. So they'll get it with the orange tetrahedrons and replace them with either a full surrounding of the Star of Life, or like what this chief did, just replacing one on each side to signify themselves as an EMS chief. Now we're done with how to identify the helmets. So now we're going to move on to the makes and models of the helmets, either issued by the CFD currently or still in service today. Alrighty, now we're going to get into the makes and models that are currently issued by the Chicago Fire Department and the styles that were previously issued that you can still see around today. So getting into it, the most commonly issued helmet that, unless you have a sizing constraint, everybody's getting when they come out of the academy now. If you get a new helmet, you're getting this. It is the Cairns 880. They're issued without Borks or eye shields. They come with goggles, and it's optional to wear them. Some guys do, some guys don't. The other lid that is currently issued, if you have a sizing constraint, is the Cairns 1044. Again, issued the same way, without Borks or the Defenders. Just comes with goggles that are optional for wear. Now we're going to get into the stuff that was previously issued, but you can still see out on the streets in the city today. Now, starting off with it, we have the last style of 880 that was issued before they went to the new style, and that is almost exactly the same. It's the same helmet, except they were issued with Borks. This stopped around 2014, 2015, and then they started going with the goggles. The next type of 880 that you can see on the street, pretty rare. Not a lot of guys had them, or well, they're rare because guys are retiring, but is the old 90s style 880s. These are smoothies. They have a different suspension style. Some have Borks, some don't. If you see, cool tip, if you ever see a guy with one of these older 880s and he doesn't have Borks and there's no screw holes, he was issued one of the face shields, which is super rare nowadays. I personally haven't seen one in my time going around and documenting almost 3,000 helmets. But yeah, it's just a cool little tidbit. These were issued all the way from the 80s to the late 90s when the newer style 880s came out. Now moving on to that, we have some different ones. We have the old model 1044. So this is what you used to get if you had a sizing constraint and they were going to give you the 1044. It is pretty much the same helmet as the 1044. They kind of did the same thing as they did with the 880s. They just took the Borks away. So this is an example of a 1044 in service. They're pretty frequent. Yeah, not too much to write home about them. Next up, we're going to move into the last of the Cairns helmets that has been issued. They've run the gauntlet of Cairns. Is the 1010. So the 1010 was issued in parts of the 90s and early 2000s. So you can see we have a awesome example here of a guy who's an engineer now, but he used to be at a little salty firehouse. And now we're going to move on to the non-Cairns helmets that were issued by the city. And those were from a company called Morning Pride. Morning Pride helmets were issued in the mid-90s for a period, and then in and out through the 2000s. They kind of swapped spots with the 1044. Sometimes they'd be doing the 1044s, sometimes they'd be doing the Morning Prides, just depending on what they bought. Now, the oldest Morning Pride that they issued, and one of the rarest helmets in the Chicago Fire Department, I've only photographed, I think, 6 in all my travels, is the Morning Pride Ben 1. It's a very odd composite helmet with a weird rubber layer. This is my personal one, because nobody here has one. Not many people have them in most places. But these were only issued for a year. It was, don't quote me on this, it was either 94 to 95 or 95 to 96. And these helmets are super rare. They're heavy, they're weird, but they're really cool. And they're a treat to see out on the street if you ever get to see one. And finally, we have the last Morning Pride they issued. This was the one that was given out late 90s and all throughout at different periods of time through the 2000s and 2010s, is the Morning Pride Ben 2. Definitely a complete redesign from the Ben 1, but yeah, these are still really popular to see. See them out and about all the time. And yeah. These aren't all you'll see. I've seen, you know, a classic one, Cairns Classic 1000. I've seen leathers, but those are not the ones issued by the city. What we're talking about today is solely the stuff that the city has issued out to the members. Guys buy their own helmets. It's not a super big tradition here, but some guys do it. The main tradition actually in the city is you keep the helmet you were issued. My father's had the same helmet for going on 24 years, or 25 years, sorry. And it's that's kind of the tradition here. Of course, when things break, they get replaced, but yeah. Now we're going to move on to the last part, which is the sticker system in the city. Okay, so getting into how the sticker system works, all Chicago Fire Department issued shields come looking like this. They have the top bar with the rank and the bottom bar that says the city, which is Chicago, and then there's a blank space in the middle for a sticker. So how the Chicago sticker system works is different companies have different colors. So in the Chicago system, black is an engine. It also, for the battalion chiefs and chiefs above that with their helmets, black is also the numbering for them. For trucks, they get red. I don't know if the red's coming across on the camera. Hopefully it is. And then the other color variation is for special ops companies. So the squads and the hazmats, and I don't believe any other companies get them, get blue. This isn't a house with a squad, so I don't have an example to show you, but I can throw a picture up right here. And then finally, ambulances are a little different. I'm going to have to stand up to grab one. The ambulance shield, or sticker, sorry. The ambulance sticker that's given out is, I'll pull these goggles off so you can see, is black with white lettering. The older style Chicago fire stickers that you used to see used to be like that. It used to be the background was the company color, so like it would be a black background with white lettering for engines, red background with white lettering for trucks, and blue background, white lettering for the squads. I can throw a picture example up of one for a truck because it's the kind of the easiest one to spot. But yeah, that's about it. The city has, of course, issued a diverse range of helmets over their over the time that this great department's been around, and there's a lot of different ranks, and we have the unique challenge of having to figure out how to identify them all. I hope you guys all really enjoyed this video. There's going to be a ton more to come. I am really enjoying branching off into this style of content. I'm a big fan of teaching and explaining things, and this is a great avenue for me to do it. I hope you all enjoyed the video. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you on the next one.